Mm.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Around the Pound. Thank you. I am your host, James Phoenix. Oh, thank you. And this week we are going to be doing a double whammy of Around the Pound because we have both our catch-up on we watch TV shows, we watch things like that. And at the same time, we also, of course, have our usual report on the news.
So that double whammy is just a format change. Or tweak.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if that's going to be the format from now on.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll find out. We'll let you know. But anyway, yes, as we can see over there, we have From the Mole Hole, and its subsidiaries, and of course the XGR, Chriz the Mole.
Thank you.
I hope that was pointing in the right direction for the people watching.
And of course, over there from the Shadow's Maw, he finally has an episode up and a description of what his show's going to be about. Go check it out. He is Among Us Shadow-san.
I think someone just got injured.
Apparently, they're calling for the stretcher. A related note, if you didn't see it last night, go check out the recording of our new WXR. So, with that, we're going to go ahead and talk about our various news items that we all have. And our, I think we're going to do the news first and then the catch-up, or are we doing catch-up first?
News first and
News
the catch.
first.
So we can be ultra serious, and then we're just a regular Joe like you.
Fair enough.
But before we go, I would just like to apologize in advance. You can see the sunlight back there. You may see that occasionally as I move around, because I probably will be moving around. That's my back door, people. It's a window in my back door. There's nothing I can do about it. I have an open floor plan in my house.
Yeah. When it comes to his back door, it's always open.
Pretty much. Okay.
It's a euphemism for anal sex.
Yes, I figured that out, but thank you for explaining that for the audience.
I explained it to Marcus because he was like, huh?
Oh, okay. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and
Hi,
start this
Stacy.
out. Yes, Anastasia Laserbeam was supposed to be here with us. Unfortunately, her internet is shit. So she is watching us live, and she may type things, and we'll shout them out in the podcast. And hopefully the Queen of Hearts will be able to do so as well if she can get the video running. So
we wish her well in her future endeavors.
Oh. Ouch.
That was from the heart.
Shot through the heart, and you're to blame. Alright.
News.
Indeed, time for the news. I'm Ken Brock. No. The first thing I want to mention, August. It was announced. You may recall a few weeks ago, there was a show called Gallivant. I believe I mentioned this at some point a little while back for one of our events that we were talking about. But it's a show forthcoming on ABC that will be a musical show with new songs every week, taking place in a medieval setting. And just generally, it's a comedy and a lampooning of everything that medieval life was. It's sort of like Monty Python, only probably not as good.
I will also say, just for the benefit of our audience, we are sorry for any technical difficulties we are experiencing during this. It is live. Because when you were introducing Gallivant, or whatever it was called, the very beginning of it was... So I was like, okay, we'll just explain a little bit of technical difficulties.
Sorry about that. Okay.
Can't be helped.
Sorry about that, folks. Well, maybe
but we heard what you want about.
Yes.
We lost Jim.
No, I'm right here. Okay. So anyway, Gallivant is of course forthcoming on ABC. It will be the mid-season replacement for Once Upon a Time on Sunday nights, and it was announced this week that for a guest role on the show, they have booked John Stamos. Of course, of Full House fame, ER, etc., etc. Most recently, those Oikos commercials. Indeed, so, Uncle Jesse. So he will be appearing on Gallivant as a dashing knight who is a longtime rival of the titular character Gallivant, and he will go up against him in a local. So that should be fun. And of course,
against him in a what?
You're joust.
Really broken up.
You're
really broken up and lagging. But okay, fair enough. Is it fair that the non-main character is going to be more attractive than the main character?
I don't know. Jim's hosting this, and well, look at me.
Touche, touche.
So anyway, like I was saying, effectively, John Stamos will appear as a rival knight that will joust with Gallivant, and who is a longtime rival of his.
Mm-hmm.
So, stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for that coming up on Gallivant. Again, mid-season replacement for Once Upon a Time. So that'll probably kick in sometime in the late fall to early, late fall to late winter, I guess. I guess that's about when they go on the hiatus, typically, maybe early spring. So who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
Alrighty.
This is my biggest news, but I'm going to get it out of the way first because this is the one I was most excited for. This was technically from San Diego Comic-Con, which we did cover Comic-Con last week on Around the Pound, but we didn't get to this because this wasn't one of the news that was leaked until the next day, and I was like, I kind of want to take it, so I took it this week. Both Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Ghostbusters franchises are celebrating their 30th anniversary this year. And while fans of the former have had a bit more reason to celebrate lately, at least we can look forward to one project that sees the Turtles and the Ghostbusters finally cross paths after all these years. IDW recently announced Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles / Ghostbusters, a 4-issue miniseries that will pair the heroic quarters with the series will be handled by some of IDW mainstays with plenty of experience on both properties. Co-writers Tom Waltz and Eric, I believe, at Burham, and artist Dan Schewing. This is the idea that Eric, series director Bobby Cuno, and I have bounced off each other for quite a while, said Waltz. In IDW's press release, and being as deeply stretched in both properties as the three of us have been given, it gives us a unique perspective on how to bring them together, and what better time to do it than during the combined 30-year anniversary celebration. Both Ghostbusters and Turtles are fun and funny and just a little bit weird, said Cunham, so putting these two together is actually a natural choice, especially when you consider the fact that Tom and Eric have worked on both of the comics for years. This one should be an absolute blast. And it says it comes out in October 2014. So that's Ghostbusters Turtles #1, October 2014, which I'm excited for this. And I love the fact they're counting the 30th anniversary for Turtles as the actual anniversary of Turtles, the comic one. So yay! And we get Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters and Turtles together.
Yay! And while you're on the topic, would you like to present to the audience your suggestion for the perfect villain for that crossover?
I said my suggestion was, at least in my opinion, the perfect villain should be the original comic continuity before they fucked it up with the 80s show. And let's go with Dead Shredder. And let's use Shredder's ghost. Because come on, it's Shredder for Turtles and it's a ghost for Ghostbusters. It works.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Brief backstory for those that have not read the comics. In the original comic series, the Turtles actually killed the Shredder very early on in the run.
That's how he died? I thought he just had a heart attack when he was coming out one day to pick up the newspaper. Of course they killed him!
I'm sorry,
How else
because
would he be dead?
I don't know. Blew himself up in the Technodrome, trapped himself in Dimension X. I don't know.
Not in the comics. That's the kiddie shit they added when they ruined it.
Right. Fair enough. Marcus Shadow, what do you got?
Like I said, I just like the idea of those two. But yeah, if it's a Marcus.
All right. Well, let's stay with the Ghostbusters. Rumor has it that instead of Ghostbusters 3, we will be getting The Ghostbusters, a reboot of the franchise with all female Ghostbusters. The logic behind this move, if it is true, is that they feel if they went with a male cast, there'd be too much expectation behind it because, like, if you have the sarcastic guy, they'd be like, oh, well, he's Peter Venkman, you know. So instead, if they feel if they're going to do a reboot, they want to do an all-female cast because it will kind of release all of that expectation. And I can't believe they're considering doing this. But supposedly Sony Pictures wants director Paul Feig to direct this movie. And in case people don't know who he is, he's the director of Bridesmaids. He's also the one who happens to direct a lot of Melissa McCarthy stuff. So the feeling is that if Paul Feig does become the director of this movie, expect Melissa McCarthy to be a Ghostbuster.
Yep, which I will also point out, they said it's meant to be a semi-reboot, if that makes sense. It's a reboot to the franchise, but it's still going to be in continuity. So, and I expect Dan Aykroyd to appear.
Yeah, basically, what the feeling is if they're going to go this route with this director, Ghostbusters, the reboot's going to end up being a comedic actress flick, which, yeah, nobody's been able to really do that right in the recent years.
There's been some good ones, like you mentioned Bridesmaids. That was a pretty good, enjoyable movie. And some of the ones this guy has directed have actually been really well received and been pretty good, enjoyable films.
Fair enough. I don't know. I just don't know how I feel about... Because I know Ghostbusters was a comedy to begin with, but to become one of those kinds of movies, it's like, I don't know if that fits Ghostbusters. But we'll have to wait and see.
To be fair, those comedies are comedies in the same vein as Ghostbusters with that type of humor. They're not like Adam Sandler comedies.
True.
And it would also help keep it fresh, because the reason Ghostbusters comedy worked at the time was because it was very 80s comedy, so they need the director that can do comedies nowadays for the modern people. And hell, if they're doing a female one, I do have one request.
What is your request?
Make Kylie real. Come on. Extreme Ghostbusters, and she's been in continuity with the real Ghostbusters thanks to the IDW comics. It makes so much sense to actually make Kylie a Ghostbuster. Come on, she's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
There you go. You know, as much as she is kind of iffy when it comes to comedic actress roles, am I the only one that kind of wants to see Janine Garofalo in sort of the sarcastic Venkman role?
See, when they go to do this, the kind of actresses I want them to be about... I don't want them to be really young actresses. I want them to be like sort of maybe Sarah Michelle Gellar age or a little older. Only because when you watch the original Ghost...
She is older.
Yeah, but I'm saying not too old, but still old, if that makes sense. I'm just saying in terms of not a particular actor, I'm just talking about age range. Only because when you watch the original Ghostbusters, part of the joy was seeing these like 30-year-old men try and lunk like fucking heavy equipment upstairs.
Yeah.
That is
and
true.
the fact they were smoking, they were just regular people. They didn't seem to be like, oh look, we're like really pretty boy people who are fit and in their prime. They were just regular exterminators, not like that. Which means we need females that can do that.
If you're going to go on that route, you're probably going to end up with that, at minimum, Tina Fey and Amy Poehler.
I wouldn't mind Tina Fey.
And Tina Fey's good. Amy Poehler's kind of annoying, but Tina Fey's good.
Yeah.
Like
I wouldn't want the two of them together. That's the thing.
Now, I think Marcus may have already addressed this actress, but the one I want in there, if I had to pick one off the top of my head, I'd kind of want, and I think it was the one Marcus mentioned, I'd want the fat girl from like Mike and Molly and Bridesmaids and stuff.
Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was her. I'd want her because, come on, look at her. She would so be the Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah.
And I'd like that. Like, I could totally see him putting, like, I don't know, Sarah Michelle Gellar or, hell, Eliza Dushku as Kylie. Make it happen.
There you go.
Back over to the host.
You know, when you think about it, you do kind of make a point. I can kind of see Melissa McCarthy walking in there and be, kind of going, going into, kind of going into over the top and be like, all right, what's that line? Kind of exit or relocate yourself to the nearest convenient pocket dimension, wherever the fuck that line is.
Yep.
I could see her doing that. That'd be hilarious.
It's like, is it wrong if Tina Fey is in there? I want her to be like Egon mixed with Janine.
Mhm.
I could see that. I could see that. Yes, I could definitely see her as the brains. Yeah.
I don't mean that. I mean the brains like Egon, but I also wanted to have the more realistic street smart that Janine has, especially like in real Ghostbusters and stuff, because that'd be so perfect for Tina Fey. Basically, how she is in 30 Rock.
Mm. Fair enough. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it goes. That's the other thing, though. If they're going to make female Ghostbusters, are they then going to have a male Janine?
Yes, played by Simon.
Ha! Hi, Simon.
Can't get my camera to stay right. There we go.
Okay. Anyway, moving on to the next bit of news. What do I got here? Okay. I want to talk about this because I was very excited when I found this out. They have released the poster and the trailer for Night at the Museum 3, Secret of the Tomb. They're not actually calling it 3. They're just calling it Night at the Museum, Secret of the Tomb. But it looks pretty awesome. Most of the cast members are recurring. Ben Stiller's back in the lead. Robin Williams is back as Theodore Roosevelt, the guy that played the Pharaoh, the woman that played Sacagawea, Owen Wilson, and the other guy as little cowboy and little ancient Roman dude.
Nice.
They're all back. Premise from the looks of the trailers, basically, the reason that everything comes to life, if you've seen the other two movies, is because there's this magic Egyptian tablet that's with the Pharaoh guy, and at night the tablet glows bright with magic and everything comes to life. And if you saw the end of the second movie, you know that they use this magic to basically they started launching museum night hours and basically pretended that this was all a high-tech animatronic thing with the exhibits coming to life, and everybody loved it. Everybody was happy. The exhibits got to come to life and interact with people and have fun, and people got to enjoy the interactive exhibits. And apparently in the third movie, the magic starts running out and not working, and so they have to basically go on an adventure around the world to different places to find the tomb that once belonged to the Pharaoh dude, who's apparently, like, I guess the son of the Pharaoh dude in actuality, and find out why the magic isn't working anymore. And they meet Pharaoh Ben Kingsley.
The Mandarin? They meet
Nice.
the Mandarin?
Pretty much. You in the presence of the Pharaoh. Kiss my staff. Actually, I'd rather not.
Yeah. I think that could be fun. I did like the other two Night in the Museum films.
Yeah.
Then if you will not kiss my staff, then let's play a game.
Ironically, I thought the second one wasn't quite as good as the first.
It wasn't.
And it wasn't because I was like, oh, okay, it's a sequel, it will never be as good. It was just, I didn't like how they include, as much as I like these people, I didn't like the inclusion of Vader and Oscar the Grouch and stuff. It felt too different. Because the other was all like historical stuff and all worked. This one felt, and I understand because the museum they went with, but it felt too pop culture-ish for what they were going for with the first.
You are right, and that was very much just a cheap attempt to be like, oh, look at all these things that are coming to life in the museum now. But anyway, we also, you might be interested in knowing more that one of the locations that they're going to be going to for this one is going to be London.
Okay.
And they're going to be going to a London museum over there where Dan Stevens will be playing Lancelot, who comes to life.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So, just thing there. Also, interestingly, how they're going to be working, we don't really know, but the original villains from the first film, Dick Van Dyke, Mickey Rooney, and Bill Cobbs will all be returning.
I'm guessing enough time's passed, they probably got out of prison.
Probably, yeah. So the three of them will be returning as their characters for whatever role in there.
Yeah, cool.
And of course, Ricky Gervais will be returning as the museum curator.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's a good thing. So yeah, that's forthcoming. The film is due out December 19th. Anybody wants to go see it? And yeah, if you want to see the trailer, it is available online. You can just take a Google of it. It's pretty good. The poster is pretty bad. It's pretty cool. It's basically, it looks It's Ben Stiller facing backwards with his flashlight in his hand. And it looks like the silhouette of the monkeys next to him, and you can see Big Ben in the background behind him.
Cool.
And although it has been blatantly pointed out in comparison shot that looks like a really blatant ripoff of the Paddington Bear movie poster, but
I should probably watch the first 2 movies. I heard they're really good.
And
I really should. Why is Marcus's camera gone out?
Because I decided to turn my camera off like Mole did.
Most cameras on.
No, but I know, but it was off before for like a minute. I assumed he shut it off like I did to do something.
I closed it off while I adjusted it.
He was just didn't want his hand in front of him when he was fixing this stupid thing.
Because what's wrong with mine this week is the wire seems a little different because I've used it so much and it keeps pulling it down.
Will you stop fucking with my camera?
Alright. Anyway, so yeah, that was my next news. Mole, what do you have next?
Next for me, I'm going to go with a short bit of news. It's not really relevant for people here, but it's one of these short ones.
Can for one second, just for 1 second before you go on, we just want to, all of us here want to say good night to Anastasia Laserbeam.
She's not in this, let me finish. But yeah, I was saying, before Jim interrupted, but I was saying, my news, which wasn't for them, but it was for people over here, was basically if you spend £40 or more, and hopefully it's still on at Morrison's, they give you free playing cards. For example, I have 4 right here. I have Monopoly Deal, Guess Who, My Little Pony, and Toy Story Happy Families.
Nice.
So yeah, spend £40 and get a free pack of cards. It's available now.
Cool. Park of Shadow.
All right, let's see what else I've got here. Well, too bad. Stage left. I should have gone with that first, but Mole gave me such the perfect name in the Ghostbusters. So I'll go with this one. The season premiere of Doctor Who, starring Peter Capaldi, will be shown in U.S. theaters for 2 days. Apparently, the premiere episode, titled Deep Breath, is feature-length. Excuse me. And it will be shown in 12 cities across the United States at midnight on August 23rd, with another 2 showings happening on August 25th in 550 theaters across the country. So all you Whovians in the United States, you can go see it on the big screen! Yay!
Like I said, boo to New Hope, boo!
And for the record, no, I'm not a Doctor Who fan. I've never actually seen the show.
Neither
I know
am
who the actors are. I'm a fan of the actors. Okay, then.
Fair enough. Moving on.
Fair enough. That news would have been perfect if Anastasia was here. I know she likes it, which is fair enough.
All right. So, the next thing on my list, it was announced, among others, that for the new upcoming live-action animation combination Disney Jungle Book movie, that the lead role of Baloo the Bear will be played by Bill Murray. Pretty much. Bill Murray joins the cast for Baloo the Bear. He joins previously announced cast members Christopher Walken as King Louie, Giancarlo Esposito as Aquila, Ben Kingsley and Lupita Nyong'o as Bagheera and Raksha, respectively. Idris Elba will voice Shere Khan. Scarlett Johansson will be an apparently female Kaa the Snake, and newcomer Neil Sethi will be Mowgli.
Nice. That does sound awesome.
That is a really good cast. We will see how that goes. That sounds like a really good movie. But again, this is also, unfortunately, it sounds awesome, but it's also that thing of, okay, Disney, you need to reboot your own movies. Okay.
To be fair, they're doing it live action.
True. It was a live action animation combination. Presumably the animals will be some type of CGI.
I imagine.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Mole, what do you got?
Hang on, let Marcus go because I'm trying to do the camera.
And
Okay,
he's got
Marcus,
a
what do you
camera
got?
that's not cooperating.
So, Marcus, you give some news while Mole fixes the camera.
I only have one piece of news left.
Fair enough.
Mole's got it fixed. Yay!
Nope. I'm still fixing it. You go, Jeff. Or Marcus.
All right.
You, Asian, read.
All right. Well, James Phoenix should get a kick out of this. Mole about this. Ah! Stop interrupting people. Yeah, I'm awaiting the James Phoenix facepalm for this one. So, apparently, a high-quality digital copy of Expendables 3 has already been leaked on the internet and been downloaded over 1 million times. Yeah. Lionsgate has known about this since, July 24th, and they've issued demand letters to the people responsible for this leak on the torrents with no response. So now they're suing their asses.
Of course they are.
And I still want to point out, we at the X-Pound condone official releases.
Yes.
So yes, that
We condone official releases, and on behalf of, our other known associations, or at least Marcus and I would just like to say, given that's Lionsgate, I really hope that doesn't happen with the new Power Rangers movie.
Yeah, so that is one of the lawsuits currently pending on the docket in the California federal court.
To be fair, it probably won't happen with Power Rangers much as Expendables, because adults want to see Expendables.
True.
So yeah, I thought that was newsworthy because it's like, really?
Yep.
Really, you could wait for the movie to come out?
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mole, if your camera is adequately prepared, what do you got?
My next bit of news. Focus Features 50 Shades of Grey trailer has officially made history as the most watched online trailer in its first week, earning over 100 million views across YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and pretty much any web page that has a capacity to host a trailer. 50 Shades of Grey trailers are pulling monumental views, says Relish Mix CEO Mark Carrazin to Deadline, noting that the trailer just got 13 million views alone on Universal's US YouTube channel, even more on its UK channel with 19.3 million views in its first week. Add to that ripped and reposted versions on movie fan channels. It's unprecedented for a film that's 6 months out, says Carrazin. Before the 2.5-minute trailer made its debut on July 24th, the promo was teased on the Today Show and Beyoncé's Instagram feed to her 14 million fans before dropping on Universal's official YouTube channel. The singer has recorded an exclusive version of her song, Crazy in Love, for the BDSM flick. And having seen the trailer, that doesn't look that bad. That film looks like it could actually be really enjoyable, as long as people don't turn around and do what they did for Brokeback Mountain with this and just be like, oh, with Brokeback Mountain, like, oh, it's gay cowboys. Oh, it's gay cowboys eating pudding. It's like, fuck off. It could be good. Give it a try.
Mm-hmm.
It could be.
And the fact it's about BDSM, as people who like BDSM knows, it's as much about closeness and commitment and trust and love as it is just hitting people and fucking. In fact, it's more about the closeness and more about the actual commitment than it is about fucking.
You know an awful lot about that, Mole. Something you're not telling us?
Yes, I do. I am an adult. While you're looking up Power Ranger stuff, I'm looking up porn.
Fair enough.
That still doesn't tell us how you know so much about 50 Shades of Grey.
Hey, it's one of the best-selling books of all time. Shattered Harry Potter's records. You mad, bro? But still, check out the 50 Shades of Grey trailer. Hopefully that you'll make this the best adaptation based on the book, and probably the most selling adaptation based on the book of all time.
Either that, or it's gonna flop horribly. Because I don't know. I have this. Go ahead.
Based on how many people went to view the trailer over and over and over again and linked people to it, and how great the trailer looks, it's not going to flop. It's going to make money.
Yeah, well, yeah, you hope so. Because I'm thinking, could this be one of those cases of it getting overhyped to the point that the expectation will be so high that when people go to see it, it'll be kind of disappointing?
I'd probably say probably not. I mean, for example, the hype for this has been building since the book came out for a couple of years. How much hype was there going into Avengers? Of how many years? Yeah.
True.
But the fact is, people will try and make out 50 Shades of Grey won't sell because they're going to go with the internet norm of 50 Shades of Grey must suck, despite never actually reading it or looking up any stuff to do with it or forming their own opinion. Which, at least I personally on the X-Pound condone having your own opinions.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. Well, I guess I will go next, and I have one more piece of news that I'll read, and it's related to my last piece of news. Because, for those of you that don't know this, the Bill Murray Jungle Book movie, by the way, that I did not mention, will be coming out in October of 2015, October 9th specifically. And it was also, at the same time, 1 week after, or well, not necessarily a full week, but just under a week after the announcement that, or I think it was just a few days after the announcement that Bill Murray would be in this role, Warner Brothers announced that their Jungle Book movie, Jungle Book Origins, will come out 1 year later on October 21st, 2016.
That's clever.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not it's good, I don't know, but it's clever.
Yes. So their Jungle Book movie, they actually said themselves that their Jungle Book movie is for all intents and purposes, a sequel to Disney's Jungle Book movie, just unofficially.
Wouldn't it be a prequel if it's Origins?
Yeah. I'm going by what was stated here.
By the fact that Warner Brothers apparently doesn't know the difference between a sequel and a prequel, I'm going to say that movie's going to suck.
Or whoever wrote that didn't.
I think that's where it said that. It said it here somewhere.
I thought that was a quote from Warner Brothers.
It's not in the article that I copied here. It's in another article I was reading on it. Hang on.
Or Jim doesn't know the difference between a prequel and a sequel.
I know the difference. I might have just used the wrong one. Excuse me, princess.
God, I hope this is what it looks like on the actual stream, the way our boxes are lined up. The way I'm seeing it. Probably not.
How are the boxes lined up the way you're seeing it?
You're between me and Mole.
Ah, okay.
That's how I'm seeing it. You're on the far left.
Fair enough.
But on your end, I'm guessing you're on the far right in the box that's normally marked you. And based on the fact Jim's on the X-Pound account, he'll be on the far right.
That is correct.
Probably. Anyway, Mole, do you have any other news while Jim's looking that up?
I have multiple newses. Let's see. I did Ghostbusters. I did that one. The infamous Kickstarter campaign to fund the creation of a bowl of potato salad wrapped up this morning with $55,492. That's £32,995 for people over here. From 6,911 bankers for that purpose, and with that money, the campaign's the campaign person who made it, basically, Zach Danger Brown, plans to hold a music festival. And before people and complain about this, like it mentions here, he's taken that money and he's actually used it to start a charity in Columbus, Ohio, which is basically he's using it for the war on poverty and hunger. He's starting a place to get rid of homelessness and hunger throughout his state, which I say, hey, more power to him.
There you go.
He's used it for good.
Indeed. Indeed.
I did have another bit of news, but I'll leave that.
Okay, I was gonna say I misread something, so ignore what I just said. There wasn't a thing about it being a prequel or a sequel. Anyway, the film October 21st, 2016. It is going to be produced by Harry Potter scribe Steve Kloves, and with Jonathan Cavendish of the Imaginarium. It's being directed and produced as well by the other partner of the owner of London-based production company, the Imaginarium, and is being directed and produced by Andy Serkis.
Really?
Really?
Did you say directed by him too?
I said directed by him too. He's directing it.
That should be interesting. Then I'll have to also assume he's probably going to do most, if not all, the primary mocap for any of like animals and stuff, because that's kind of what he does.
That wouldn't surprise me. And it is noted here that he was actually a second unit director under Peter Jackson on the 2 Hobbit movies that are out so far.
He did.
I would say it sounds like they want to make this a great film or whatever. But like I was going to say, it's a stroke of genius to release it then, but it's also a massive mistake.
Why?
Because if you're releasing it a year after Disney have put all their money into a Disney one with an all-star cast and stuff, when that one comes out, it's going to be compared to Disney.
It will be. It comes out 1 year and 1 week after Disney's project opens. But at the same time, this project has no cast yet. So for all we know, this one could be all-star casted too.
Yeah, but I just mean, as a result, because the Disney one's first and they've already announced the cast and they've planned it more, it sounds like the other ones have got less effort behind it. They're just like, oh, Disney's doing a Jungle Book one, we must rush one out too. It may not be a case, but it's like, technically speaking, based on the fact it's Norse mythology, I could go out and make a Thor movie. And if I was to release that right after Marvel's 4, you know what people are going to say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
Unfortunately, there's not much Andy Serkis can do about it.
Unfortunately. Okay, so I think you had the last piece of the news for the night.
And I just said I had one more piece, but I'm going to leave it.
Okay.
Because no one else had any news, and probably we're all equal with news, so yay, catch up.
Okay. Time for catch-up time. Who wants to go first?
You, because you're the host. So tell us what the librarian has been doing all week.
Fap.
So. Alright. First thing on my list, I have 3 things. The first thing I will mention, I'll leave that for last. The first thing I'll mention is I saw a couple of movies this week. I'm going to do one each round here. The first movie I saw was The Hunger Games: Catching Fire, the second film of the series. It's a really good movie. It took me I didn't get into it in the first few minutes, but eventually I kind of got into it. It was a really well-made movie. Great effects. You really felt a lot of the drama and the tension rising about the people, being tired of the capital and being ready to rise against them and revolt and whatnot. Katniss and Peeta's feelings about being pulled back into the Hunger Games. Even as winners. Even though they won. The whole situation. It's really dramatic. You feel the tension building, and it's just really well done. Again, Jennifer Lawrence knocks it out of the park with her acting. It's so good.
Nice. Like I said, I still need to watch it. I loved the first Hunger Games film.
Yeah, it's a really good film. Just check it out. The only thing is it'll be interesting to see what they do with the next film for Mockingjay, because one of the primary characters they introduced in the second film was Philip Seymour Hoffman, who unfortunately is no longer with us. So, depending on how pivotal that character is, there may be a recast.
I'd imagine they'd probably go for a recast. Isn't that the reason they got rid of one of the Harry Potter Gandalf rip-offs?
Yeah, it's because Richard Harris died after the second movie, so they had to bring in Michael Gambon to finish. Although Richard Harris was still a better Dumbledore in my opinion, but that's another review.
I agree.
So yeah, Catching Fire, great movie. Go check it out if you have a chance. It's on DVD and Blu-ray now. You can find it out there. And on a related note, I'll just throw out the trailer for the next film, Mockingjay, is also online, released at Comic-Con. Check that out too.
Nice.
Who else has a catch-up item they like to talk about? I'm going to keep the order going the same way.
Okay. I will say it started off here a couple of weeks back. I'm now on the 3rd episode. We had Dragon's Den this weekend. Woo! which there wasn't too. I only put small notes with some of the ideas and then put them all down. They had some great ones though this week. Of like they had a new online estate agent, which was weird because it charged you money. It charged you money to use them, but when there was no guarantee you'd get that money back if your house didn't sell. So yeah, the Dragons didn't like that idea for a business. There was a new tea company, which was weird. It was a tea company called, what the hell was it? The Tea Box Company, and yet the tea came in like a Pringles tube. Which one of them said, wait, did you start with a box and then go to a tube? Another one was a dog collar with a built-in leash. Which they said it was a little too heavy and they didn't invest, but it looked like a great idea. And on the dog in question, it had like a small, not Chihuahua size, but like a normal, average, small dog. They basically the collar went around the neck, and then they just go there, and they just go whoomp, and it has the leash attached in there, so you can always take it for a walk without ever having to say, "Oh, I've lost my leash," or "Oh, I can't click it on," and stuff.
Yeah.
They also had some weird peanut butter.
Okay.
It was made of entirely natural peanut butter ingredients. Unlike any other peanut butter on the market, it was 100% organic. And the reason I say unlike any other ones on the market, the reason they mentioned that is because it was so organic, it was almost liquid. They could pour it like that because of all the natural oils, because they didn't put any of the additives or anything in there that they use in even some of the organic ones to just give it that, sticking together, more paste-like texture. And apparently when they tasted it, they said it was like 90-something% more healthier. Most people who tried it said it tasted better and stuff like that. So it was a pretty cool product. I think that one actually got backed. So yeah,
I don't know.
Dragon's Den, like I said, it's an interesting show where people go on there and pitch ideas of businesses and stuff, and the Dragons then invest and say like, okay, I want 40% of your business because I can bring this and all that. And it's cool to just see all these different ideas for businesses that range from different ends of the spectrum, from basically dog collar with a leash built in, all the way up to like peanut butter or like a tank and stuff. It's kind of cool. So that was my first one.
I don't know. For those of you that are on this side of the pond, we also have the show here. It's called Shark Tank on this side of the pond.
Yeah, you do, but it's got different hosts.
Yes, but it has that one Canadian dude.
It does. Who's in Dragon's Den, Canada?
Marcus, what do you got for catch up?
Well, the first thing I want to talk about, and kind of goes out of the range of this week because it was technically last week, but we didn't do a catch up. Excuse me, last week. I want to talk about Dead Space 3, which I got from PlayStation Plus. I finished. Now, I want to preface it by saying I'll admit I didn't play the second one. I do own the first one. Haven't beaten it yet, but that was okay. I didn't really much care about the spoilers. But Dead Space 3 is actually really good. The story is actually really good. The voice acting is spot on, and they did a good job. The voice actors and actresses did. The gameplay, for the most part, is pretty good. It takes a little getting used to with the sensitivity the way it is. The sensitivity is a little wonky. Because you have the default sensitivity is 2. That sensitivity where it's at should be ranked 4. It's pretty damn sensitive. And there's no way to adjust the look sensitivity. It's an aim sensitivity, which I don't agree with. But for the most part, it improved on at least from the first one. I really enjoyed this game a lot more than the first one, hence why I haven't beaten the first one yet. But the one thing that pissed me off to no end in this game, the third one, and in my opinion, there's kind of no excuse for it in this day and age, and that's the really, really shitty autosave system in this game. Holy crap. Because it's supposed to be an autosave checkpoint system, fair enough. But unlike most games these days, where when you cross a checkpoint, it autosaves at the checkpoint, and it says, big-ass letters on your screen, checkpoint, or saving checkpoint. Yeah, there's nothing there. So good luck knowing where the checkpoints are unless you read a FAQ. Because it'll say saving progress, which is when you get to certain points, it's like, okay, it'll save your progress up to that point, but it's not saving your location. Your location's only saved when you cross certain checkpoints, which the checkpoints are laid out horribly in this game. Really horribly.
Mm.
To the point that if you want to play this game, you almost can't put it down because you never know where you're going to start when you come back.
Oh, that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Is it a large open world?
Kind of. It depends on where you are. There's a couple of different environments, but the bulk of the game, yeah, you're basically on this ice world where the
Ice
prologue
world.
takes place. Yeah, you're basically on Hoth.
But wasn't the trailer a dude jogging down a beach?
That's Dead Island.
Oh, Dead Island. Wrong game. Sorry.
Dead Space is starring Isaac Clarke,
Fair enough.
the guy with the helmet with the multiple lights.
The game you were thinking of, Jim, it hasn't come out yet.
I thought it was odd that it was on PSN already.
Yeah, it was on available now for PS Plus. You can get your game free before it's released. That'll make our company money.
But yeah, that's my first one. I really did enjoy that game.
Nice.
Right,
Still have yet to try the multiplayer on it, but multiplayer co-op,
Over to Jimmy.
Indeed, over to me. So,
The mustache in the sky.
okay, next thing on my list of things to discuss. The second movie that I watched the other day, I watched the movie Ender's Game.
We lost Marcus.
What's that?
We lost Marcus.
Oh, crap. What do we do?
You continue like you should.
Quick, I better show everybody the light.
You were the one why we lost you. Fair enough.
But I turned off my camera because I got up.
We're here.
Okay, fair enough.
Alright. So, like I was saying, Ender's Game. I have not read the book by Orson Scott Card. I kind of want to now. I liked the movie. I thought it was very well good. I thought Asa Butterfield in particular, for a young man his age, and for anybody, did a great acting job in that movie. It was really well done. I really liked it. I thought a lot of the characters were kind of well developed, well done. Ben Kingsley did a good job in the movie. Harrison Ford did an okay job in the movie, but I didn't like the way his character was written in the movie. And I can tell it wasn't his fault, it was just the way his character was written.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But I felt he could have acted it better. I felt, and no offense to Harrison Ford, because I love him, he's great, but I felt there were so many other better choices for that role because Harrison Ford just made it so, like, generic that, to me,
a little bit,
I don't know if you felt this way, but to me, Asa Butterfield acted circles around Harrison Ford in this movie.
Oh, he did. He totally did.
And that's sad because Harrison Ford's a great actor.
You know, it basically seemed like, and I know the character's part of it too, but it seemed like Harrison Ford inadvertently signed on to do this movie that didn't, like, his agent did it without telling him, and then he showed up on set and found out that he had to play this dude that basically sat in space, and he was just pissed off the whole time, so that was his character.
No, that was episode 6.
Oh!
Hence Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Pretty much what he was in this movie.
Although I will say to you, Jim, if you liked Ender's Game, you totally need to go out right now and check out After Earth.
Yeah, I know.
It's almost a spiritual successor.
No, I'm not that stupid. No.
Is this not a face you can trust?
Anyway, yeah. Overall, Ender's Game, decent. A lot of good acting, a lot of good stuff done. I did feel like it was a little. They could have explained some more things in the movie because it's like, okay, this is the world, but parts of it didn't make sense.
Yeah, they had to condense it down.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you're dealing with a book like that, it's the kind of thing you have to do. So it felt like there was a lot of things missing. Like I didn't totally understand the world, but I understood enough that the movie was entertaining, and I really liked it. So I would recommend it as a movie. If you've read the book, you're probably going to hate it. But if you, like me, you haven't read the book and you're looking for an interesting science fiction movie, give it a watch, if just for Asa Butterfield's acting.
Yeah,
that's
great acting.
It was really good. There was a lot of good acting in the movie. And I just thought that it was just a generally fun, interesting movie to check out. I thought it was good.
See, I think this would have been a good IP to get the Peter Jackson treatment. Make it like 2 movies instead of 1 or something. You know what I mean?
I could agree with that, yeah. Unfortunately, the problem is you open that can of worms, you're kind of fucked. Have you look at the
Yeah.
freaking chronology of Ender's Game series books?
I've been told about it. Yeah.
And it's kind of a clusterfuck.
Just like most Peter Jackson films.
Pretty much. On a related note, I think at Comic-Con, the concept art or a trailer or something for Hobbit 3 came out. Check it out.
Well, there was a trailer actually.
Okay, that's what I said. I knew it was a concept art or a trailer or something came out. But anyway, yes, Marcus, you were saying.
In fact, check out the Comic-Con panel. Just go in there, type in SDCC 2014 Hobbit, and yeah, you can watch their panel, which was actually pretty entertaining.
Fair enough. But anyway, yes, you were going to say before I brought that up?
Oh, I was just going to say, I didn't say Peter Jackson should have directed it. I thought the director did a fantastic job. I just said I thought it should be get the Peter Jackson treatment of extending it to 2 or 3 movies. Because I think, and I don't know, I've never read the book either, but I get the feeling Ender's Game is one of those books that's like that thick.
I don't know about
probably go for a couple movies.
I don't know about that thick. I think it's a thick book, but I don't know if it's quite that thick. But I think it could have gone for a couple movies. I think it's just it would be a matter of where among the thing you cut it off. I guess is the where it would depend, and if there was enough to fill in around that. But I go to yes, well.
Based on the Peter Jackson approach, what that actually means is the longest books he will make as one film, and then he'll find the smallest book and he'll extend the shit out of it to milk it for all it's worth, while all the fanboys eat that shit up like num num num. Oh yes, brilliantness, num num.
Yeah, basically.
I'm sorry, The Hobbit should not be multiple movies. It's the shortest fucking book.
It really shouldn't.
Yeah.
But that's not a nice way to talk about Tachi.
Hi, Aeon.
And it also, just for your, since I was able to bring it up here, for your general reference, Marcus Shadow, Ender's Game clocks in at 384 pages.
Oh, that's not bad.
But anyway, yeah, so Ender's Game, great movie. If you like some decent acting for child actors that you don't see very often, give it a watch. Just try to tune Harrison Ford out and you'll be okay.
Pretty much.
Fair enough. And next on my list was I've been playing Mass Effect 1 and 2 back to back. Which I'm like halfway through 2 right now. I've played 2 before and parts of 3 and stuff, and I just decided to go back and play through the whole trilogy. And I will say, for people wondering, if you've got a PS3, it's cheap enough to buy all 3 games, but I almost recommend skipping the first game and just using the interactive comic. It's a better game. The first game is broken beyond stupidness. The characters are flat as fuck. Luckily, when it gets to the second one, it does pick up steam, so yay. And yeah, the second game does have like better combat, better RP elements, has better fucking characters. Everything's better in the second game, so yay, check that out. The trilogy, I believe, is on the store if you want to get all 3 for about $29.99, working out like £10 a game. Each game, even the first one, which, while I didn't like the first one as much as the others, it's still okay to play through, if that makes sense. And each one clocks in at about, like, depending on how anal you can be, you can get like easily 12 hours gameplay out of each game.
Yeah, well, and unless you end up finding the first game complete and utter shit to the point that you can't play it, it's worth it to go through it so that when you start up the second game, you get the bonuses for having a completed save file of the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, and we should probably mention that. Yeah, that's true more about the length for like a normal player, and even for someone who's anal, it can be a little bit more. But remember, Marcus Shadow played this game. We know how much he loves anal. It was probably twice that much.
Fair enough, but no, like I said, it's pretty fun. And I just mentioned with the comic, I mean, the bonuses you get for doing the first one doesn't warrant sitting there for that long.
Fair enough.
Yeah, the first one, it goes from like Power Ranger type one-dimensional characters to characters that are so intertwined and have such almost rich story that it's like going from, say, like I mentioned, it's like going from, say, Power Rangers to something like The Godfather.
Hmm.
That's the difference we're talking about here.
Wow.
But it's still worth checking out if you haven't played them. Some people like the first game more.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. Moving on. I believe we're on to Marcus Shadow.
Moving on to our bestie Asian, Marcus Shadow.
Ah.
Admittedly, he's our
Always
Asian,
so
but
composed.
still.
But
Yeah.
No, Marcus Shadow, what do you have for us?
Besides bitter disappointment.
Yeah, besides that.
I think I will talk about some things that I watched on YouTube this week that I think people.
Whoa! There's kids watching this.
I said YouTube, not X Hamster.
You can find porn on YouTube.
But yeah, I think this bears mentioning because I was unaware of this until I just randomly ran across it when I punched in Rob Paulson because I was on a Rob Paulson kick this week. I'll admit it, he's awesome. But found out that at MomoCon this year, that's MOMOCon, CON, they actually celebrated the Animaniacs.
Wait.
20th anniversary.
There's a COD dedicated to the little meerkat thing from Avatar: The Last Airbender?
I made that exact same joke.
But yeah, they were celebrating the anniversary of Animaniacs, and forgive me for not knowing the year. I keep forgetting. I think it's like 20th anniversary, but 20th or 25th, something like that.
Well, not forgiven.
For the first time ever at any convention, all three Animaniacs were present. They actually managed to pull Tress MacNeille out of mothballs for this.
Wow.
Just because it deserves it.
Yeah. And as an added bonus, they had the brain with them. So that was awesome. You can check out panels on there. I was watching panels. And of course, they also had, I think for the first time ever at a convention, I can't remember if he's been to any, but they also had Randy Rogel out there, the guy who wrote all the music for Animaniacs, including Yakko's World. And he and Rob Paulson actually did a panel called The Music of Animaniacs, which is up on YouTube. Go check that out. The music is awesome. But the one panel that needs to be checked out is Jeff Zanini's panel. Yes, he was there too, where he had the cast of Animaniacs, the three of them, and Maurice LaMarche, the brain, reading the script of The Matrix, the first one. And they had Randy Rogel there too, so they had his keyboard set up, and he played background music while they were reading the script. And as an added bonus, they had a special guest voice actor, just because he happened to be at the con and happened to be their friend. They had Dante Bosco. It was glorious.
Nice. And as I mentioned, just because of what we've talked about during this podcast, it's also worth mentioning the brain, voice of Egon in Extreme Ghostbusters.
Indeed.
Because Maurice LaMarche is awesome.
Because full circleness, tie everything together.
Exactly.
Although, I will say...
Marcus package.
Yes. Also, for the record, for anybody who is unaware, the gentleman who runs these panels at the various conventions, Jeff Zanini, is the owner and proprietor of an agency that represents the majority of these voice actors that he has on these panels.
Yeah. I will say it did kind of sadden me a little bit that Zuko got the loudest applause of the night.
Why?
I don't know. Because Dante Bosco sightings are rare? I don't know.
Why is that disappointing? Avatar: The Last Airbender was actually written probably better than Animaniacs. As much as I loved Animaniacs and Pringy and the Brain, he was a made part of why that's the reason he'd be popular.
Yep.
Well, it makes me sad just because this convention was supposed to be the Animaniacs anniversary celebration, and Zuko gets more applause than the Animaniacs.
True, but didn't you say he was a special guest they brought in, so he also has the element of surprise?
Yes, that's true. Well, special guest for that panel, but yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on to the mole.
Since Jim is otherwise predisposed, probably having another sex talk with pew pew,
Mm-hmm.
make it out what you will, I will talk about the fact I've been watching a show on Amazon Prime. It's available for all of you to watch. I would describe this show simply by going, whoa! I've been watching Melissa and Joey.
Nice.
Nice.
If you grew up in the 90s or you watched anything like Sabrina, Chris Explains It All, fucking Blossom, or any of those shows, you totally need to check out this show. It's Melissa Joan Hart and Joey Arp. How the fuck do you pronounce his last name? Isn't it
Lawrence.
Lawrence? Yeah.
Lawrence, yeah.
Him together is basically, he's this cool guy, businessman, that accidentally gets swindled out of all his money and loses all his money. And the only way he can do it is he goes to the sister of basically the sister of the guy that was previously the guy that did this to his business, who is now looking after the other guy's kids while that guy's on the run. And he becomes her nanny. Yeah, and it turns out he can cook and he's really sarcastic and stuff, and banter between those two is great. And slight spoiler alert, but you'll probably have figured this out when you watch the show from series 1 onwards. Series 3, they kind of give in to the fan demand.
They ship them?
They finally hook up.
Oh.
Because throughout the show, like, there's loads of scenes where those two just have this amazing chemistry. Like, when they're sarcastic to each other, it works. When they have touching scenes, you kind of want to see them together, and then they finally put them together, and I'm like, yes. That was the last one on my list.
So basically what you're saying is during their touching scenes, you just scream at the TV screen, "Fuck her already!"
Yep.
Nice. That's good writing, folks.
Indeed.
It's also why I scream every time Jim's on the phone to Pew Pew.
Ah.
Ha.
Fair enough.
Mr. Phoenix.
Indeed.
Phoenix!
Alright. Moving back over to my last thing. And that last thing, where did I put it? I thought I had it here to pull it up. I guess I don't. No, not that. That's for X-Pound. That's for X-Pound After Dark.
Yeah.
It's this. I've started reading this new book series. It's called The Kingdom Keepers. This is actually the old cover art. They've released awesome new cover art that shows it off as a series.
I can't
That'd
see
be relevant if we could see the cover art.
Yeah, we couldn't see the cover. When you held it up, it turns to blue light.
Tilt it, Jim. You have the light reflecting off it.
Ah, there we go. That's kind of a cool
There you go.
cover. Looks sort of like the Disney Kingdom. Or the
Exactly.
Disney...
That's what it is. The premise of the book series is that these young people down here, because it is a J series as exists for my library. It is a J series. It's one of those series that's kind of intended for kids, but other older people can read it and enjoy it too. It's about these 4 kids here, and basically, they are chosen out of a large pool of kids for this Disney project where they are scanned in green screens and stuff, and they record dialogue, and they're turned into interactive holograms that work at Disney World. And the holograms are there, and they guide people around the park and do cool stuff. Well, what they come to find out is that there was an ulterior plan here, and that they are now mentally and other ways connected to their holograms, their DHIs, as they call it, Disney Interactive Host, or digital something imaging. Anyway, digital human imaging, I think. Anyway.
Does it actually refer to it as Disney throughout, or is it just like an homage to Disney, like it's hinted?
Bright
White
light, bro.
page.
Disney.
Nice.
Oh, it's produced by Disney. Nice.
Yeah, that's what I was generally wondering, because I didn't see the Disney logo on the cover. I thought they would have put
Yeah.
that on the cover.
You would think, but they didn't. No, but it is officially under Disney Editions. It's published by Disney Books. They are
Nice.
officially licensing this.
Nice, which either would have worked, but nice.
Yeah. But basically, they are no. It's actually Disney. They are taken in by Disney, and they are made at Disney World. These interactive holograms, and they are connected emotionally and mentally to their holograms. And when they go to sleep, they effectively become their holograms, and they can walk around the park and do stuff. And they find out that there was an ulterior reason, is that the Disney Imagineers were tasked by Walt Disney to eventually, or that they felt they had to do this because it turns out that those Disney villains are actually real. but people can't see them unless the villains get enough power. And the villains come to life because of the belief in them by the people of the world. And
Well,
Walt
that's
Disney.
Well, that's not true. We can clearly see the Disney villains. Right now, I can clearly see who just introduced the book. Captain Hook, the teenage years.
Anyway.
He does look like Disney's Captain Hook. I'm sorry, he has the same facial structure and
A little
style.
bit, yeah, I just need the long hair. Anyway. So effectively, they find out that because of the belief people have in them, the characters are real. It's just for the most part they can't be seen. But when they become their DHIs in their hologram form, they are effectively in the same sort of existence plane, whatever, as them, and they can see the characters. So in the Disney part, they can see Goofy and Winnie the Pooh and all the characters run around, but the villains have belief, and they're real too, and they're becoming steadily more real. And the villains are starting to be able to control shit, and if they get any more powerful, they're going to like break out of the park and start taking over the world, and that's not good. So specifically in this case, we see Maleficent, who seems to be in charge, but admits in the end that she's not. That there is somebody more powerful than her. But they kind of fight Maleficent, and basically they are tasked by this old guy Wayne, who's like the first Imagineer or the oldest living Imagineer or some shit like that. But he was tasked by Walt Disney to give them this riddle, this fable, and solve the clue of the fable and follow the clues to find a way to stop the group of villains that are known as the Overtakers from effectively taking over the park and then inevitably finding the larger world and taking over the larger world. Because they've started to affect things outside the world. Things being stolen, stuff being broken into, things like this. And the mentor Wayne, his name is Wayne, is the old guy. And he mentioned at one point that they knew this was kind of building, but they didn't know how serious it was until one point where the Overtaker's power, they were able to reroute a hurricane, and it went over the park where it lost all its power, and the hurricane like powered up shit in the park or something.
Did they reroute it by slapping it?
If only, but they are not Matt Hardy, so they could not do that.
I know you can slap a tornado. I hoped it would work on a hurricane.
Yeah. But anyway, so...
no, but they can rock a hurricane.
Nice.
Fair enough. But yes, this is the first book in the series. There are 7 books in the series. I will be reading the rest, and I will talk to you more about them on the catch-up of Around the Pound as I read them. They are available now in your local bookstore and library. The most recent one just came out back in April. And author Ridley Pearson has just announced that he is working on a sequel series that will feature the same characters, and but with some new villains and some new problems to overcome. So,
when was that one published?
this first book is from 2008.
Okay,
I have to ask a question, and I'm not in any way joking or taking the piss with this. I'm just being genuine.
Okay.
Based on how you described it, is it a metaphor for religion? Because it sounds like if you believe in it, they're still all around you. You just can't see them. And yet the evil people who are still in the Bible are influencing the world around us. And we need to believe in God to basically overcome it. Sort of like Narnia did, where it was like basically a metaphor for Christianity. Or Twilight was a metaphor for abstinence.
That actually wasn't a metaphor. In the last Chronicles of Narnia book, Aslan outright basically says, hey, by the way, I'm Jesus.
Is that when his popularity went downhill, like the Beatles?
Ha!
But no, I know he basically said I'm Jesus, but I mean, it was a metaphor in certain parts of Narnia for that.
Yeah.
I was just generally wondering, it sounds like it could be a metaphor for religious belief.
I didn't think of it that way, but you're right, it makes sense. It very well might be. But yeah, it's mostly just about the fact that, basically people believe, they didn't exist until people believed in them, and when people started believing in them, that's when they started to exist and gain power, and it's kind of an interesting theory.
Nice. I might have to buy those books.
Yeah, they're good books. They're right. Like I said, they're a juvenile series, so some of them are a little thicker. This is a pretty thin one, but some of them are a little thicker than this. But it's a decent book. It's a decent book series that, like I said, your niece and nephew are probably a little too young for it, but a few years they're probably right the right age for it. Or you can even read it to them. I know your reading's not your favorite thing to do. But...
I was just buying it for me.
Well, that too. You can do that too, and then just maybe read it to them later. But yeah, it's a really cool book series. And it's interesting because now, at the same time, because they can't, when they're holograms, they can't do everything because they can't touch things or anything. So there's parts where they have to break into the park and avoid security guards and crap as they're running on adventures and things, trying to solve stuff. Whenever they're in their hologram form, anything that happens to them while they're in hologram translates to their real bodies. So, like, for example, if they're fighting off one of the things that when they're fighting off all the dolls in the small world ride that are come to life and are attacking them, and one of them bites them on the arm, they're going to have a wound on their arm, on their real body when they wake up.
Nice.
It's kind of cool like that. So it's interesting how they're trying to cope with their real lives and this and all the other shit that's going on. And there's magic and weird shit. And the other thing is when Ridley Pearson wrote these books, he actually did a full research, had cooperation from Disney with full research on Disney World, the history of Walt Disney, and all that stuff to make sure it was all historically accurate.
Nice. And I will say, FYI, being one of those little small dolls at It's a Small World After All ride was how Marcus Shadow put himself through college.
It was.
It's officially X-Pound canon.
It is. There you go. It's good stuff.
But no, the reason I asked when it was published is because now that he's done with the series and he's going to be doing a sequel series to it, am I the only one who could see Disney turning around, making this into his TV series to basically destroy the Power Rangers franchise? Be like, see, we're the Power Rangers killers.
See, if we're going to do
One at a time, we are VR.
See, I'd say two things with that. One, Saban's killing Power Rangers. And two, I would also say if Disney is going to do that, wouldn't it be better with Kingdom Hearts so they can pull out the blades and fight shit with a very similar concept with, ironically, Maleficent was the big bad in Kingdom Hearts 1 too. Almost.
That was one of it's one of those things where the group is actually referred to as collectively as Disney villains. It's actually sort of like, they had the Disney Princess franchise. Disney Villains is actually also a franchise. And so the group has different villains at different times, but Maleficent is the most frequent leader, but sometimes, like on the House of Mouse show and Mickey's House of Villains, it was Jafar.
Couldn't you imagine, which I still think they need to make that. They need to make that concept sounds great, but it does sound similar in some regards to Kingdom Hearts, while actually sounding a little bit more intelligent in Kingdom Hearts. But I think Kingdom Hearts would make a great live-action TV show or film series or just an anime. They should make an anime of it.
That'd be interesting.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts would be interesting as a TV series, but then they would have to get Nomura to agree to it, and you know how Square Enix is about their quote-unquote properties.
What, you mean the same ones they've made multiple anime films out of Final Fantasy? Some of the characters who actually happen to be in the game? They'd probably do it for the money.
Yes,
Plus, there's the Kingdom Hearts manga out, which is almost a step to the anime.
Yes, there is a manga. I do like the manga. But yeah, writing those Final Fantasy movies is good.
I believe most people say Advent Children was good. Personally, I liked the other one, Spirits Within, or whatever it was called.
Okay.
That one wasn't good as a Final Fantasy film. However, it was great as a CGI film and as a film in itself.
Fair enough.
And I'm not that big a Final Fantasy fan, so when I watched it, I was like, this is actually kind of a cool concept. I like this.
Fair enough.
I believe it's Marcus's last one.
It is. Marcus, wrap us up.
Bring us home, little guy.
All right. Well, I would like to say Advent Children would have been good if they hadn't DMC'd it, but yeah. But the last thing I'm going to talk about is another video game. It's called Vessel, available on, or was available last month. I don't know if it's still up there. It might still be up there on the PlayStation Network on PlayStation Plus. The concept is actually pretty interesting, but I got to one puzzle that literally it's all about luck to beat, and I'm like, fuck that, because literally I looked up a fact on how to beat the puzzle, because some of these puzzles are really hard. And I was like, is there some trick to this puzzle that I'm not seeing? No, it's you just have to aim this little water cannon properly, like on the exact right pixel, and aimed exactly properly, otherwise you're going to miss. And I'm just like, ugh. And I looked up, and someone had a video walkthrough of it. And I positioned the cannon exactly where he positioned it, when he got it aimed right, and it still didn't work. And I tried for like an hour, and I was like, screw this is stupid. No game should be designed this way. It shouldn't be about pure luck. It shouldn't be about having to be on the exact right spot.
Pretty much.
It shouldn't be about pure luck. You must hate Mario Party. I'm sorry, some of the Mario Party squares are pure luck. But I will admit Mario Party more than this one would lend itself to that, because that one's meant to be like a survival-ish type, where Mario Party, it's a party game. You're going to have random chance cards in Monopoly.
Yeah.
And it's too bad that the people who made Vessel decided to go that route, because all the puzzles that I had done up to that point were actually pretty clever, and it was a pretty fun game up until I got to the point where, yeah, unless you get like really, really, really fucking lucky, you're not going to get past this part and get to the next part of the game. I'm like, well, thanks. Now I can't beat the game. Good job, developers.
Yep.
I don't know.
So then take us home, host.
Indeed. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for joining me for this Around the Pound right here. I think this catch up is a fun little format where, in addition to news, we can talk about stuff we've done. I think we're going to stick with this format. What do you guys think?
I like it. Like I said, we got the news ultra serious, then hey, we're just average Joes. Look, we like the same stuff you do.
All
Unless
right.
it's Jim, then he likes the same things your substitute teacher does. But still.
Ha!
And I will
Fair
say
enough.
for you, just for the record, for next week's Round the Pound, Jim,
Mhm.
don't be a dick. He told us all, wear white t-shirts, and then look what he wears.
I said no such thing.
Then why else
I would- I would-
being white?
I
Explain
would
it.
never tell anyone to wear white T-shirts because I don't want to look like a Guido. If you two choose to dress like Jersey Shore Guidos, that's up to you.
Hey, mine's got Cartman playing football. That's so British.
Okay, that's badass. I'll give you that.
And it says, pretend it's a hippie and kick it.
Damn right.
I like to take that advice through life.
That's good, man. All right, screw you guys. We're going home. We'll see you next time here on Around the Pound. Thank you, Mole and Marky Shadow, for joining us. I'm James Phoenix. Peace.